The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times your entry with Underdog Pick'em. Sign up with NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code NBA SGPN. We're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial Merch Sale. Wow, try saying that 4 times fast. Mega Memorial Merch Sale, Mega Memorial Merch Sale, Mega Memorial Merch Sale, Mega Memorial Merch Sale. Okay, actually, that wasn't that hard. Either way, 15% off everything in the SGPN merch store with promo code SGPN May. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No, me, no the voice, no the guy. It's me, really real, Will and Real. Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. Oh man, we have a series. Can we just crown the winner of the Western Conference Finals as NBA champion? Like, can we just do that? I want to do that. I want to just go ahead and let's just give them the title. The West is gonna do it again. Because whether it's Ant, whether it's Kai, Luka, I don't know. Oh, imagine Kyrie versus. Ooh, oh, I'm ready. Oh, the playoffs are great, man. I be trying to tell y'all the NBA is one of the greatest things out. All right, Scott Studio Reichel. People, Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beam me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, doing pretty well. Ended up splitting my picks from the Eastern Conference game too. I had the Horford under and rebounds, didn't get there, but I did have the Celtics alt-team total at 119.5 at plus 135. That got there as they ended up scoring 126. Besides that, WNBA picks were solid. Lost the lock, but won the dog. Plus 245. Shout out to Natasha Cloud for the 8+ assists. So overall, good day. And then this morning, I swept my tennis pot, so can't complain. But overall, we're not going to talk much about yesterday's game. We're going to save that for the Game 3 breakdown. I'm going to push back a little bit when you just said, can we just crown whoever wins the Western Conference? I think my only pushback would be that there's really no team that has wowed me. And maybe like we're just going to get a team that in most years we wouldn't pick. But this year, everything it was a perfect storm for this team to win. Like watching
Minnesota?
Boston play. Minnesota's impressed me right now, but we'll see how they do against Dallas. Once again,
Minnesota winning Game 7 on the road in Denver wasn't wow.
It was a wow, but
wow.
I'm saying in terms of just on a consistent basis, I don't think any team has looked like a consistent world beater. That's kind of my point.
But you can say that they wowed you. Like that did. Was a wow. I feel like that was a wow.
Yeah,
moment.
Okay. Fair enough. I should have phrased it better. I don't think there's been one team that's been consistently dominant throughout the course of the playoffs. You could argue Boston, but they haven't really played anybody. It's been a pretty easy path for Boston.
What? So, Boston hasn't even dominated the teams they've been playing.
Well, I'm saying if you take out the outlier game against Cleveland and the outlier game against Miami, they basically win every game by double digits. That's kind of my point. They've been dominant in most games, but they haven't really played anybody worth a damn. So that's kind of the point I'm making. But yes, you're not wrong. Boston's look vulnerable. My point is every team this year has been vulnerable. So if Boston does end up winning the title, I wouldn't be shocked. Would I pick them in most years? No. But every now and then you have a down year where some flawed team wins the title, and it seems like Boston could potentially do that. Would I pick them in a series? I didn't say that. But if they win the title, I wouldn't be as shocked as you are, or as you would be. I think that's kind of my point.
The only thing here is that if Boston finds a way to nut up and make this happen, I'm sitting on
Brown to win Finals MVP.
Yes, and I mean, come on. We're on our way. That's the only thing. That's the only good part about Boston playing well is that we're sitting on a Jaylen Brown for Eastern Conference Finals MVP ticket. That is the only good thing about all of this. All right. Before we get to the game, we got to talk about tonight in the Western Conference Finals. Got to talk to you about the biggest week in racing, the Indy 500, Monaco Grand Prix, and Coke 600. All this week, Rod and Cody from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast giving you a whole bunch of F1 and gambling, NASCAR gambling. And look, I'm telling you, just take a weekend, give yourself a little bankroll, and just tell the picks. Listen to the pod, do some research, tell the picks, and have fun. You're going to make a bunch of cash. Plus, you can join their Kyle Larson die-cast card giveaway. That's free to enter. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/race to register. Make sure you subscribe to both the NASCAR and F1 Gambling Podcast. Plus, we're running a Mega Memorial merch sale, 15% off everything in the merch store. Promo code SGPN May. Make sure you go in there, get you some NBA Gambling Podcast gear, get you some WNBA podcast gear. Scott, hey, 6-0. 100% of my locks on the WNBA show. 100% of my locks have gone through. I don't know if people. I don't know why people aren't listening. I mean, I'm hitting 100% of my locks. You're hitting 66% of your dogs.
I don't know the average line on those, but
66%.
there's at least 3 plus like 240.
Oh, I can. It's all right. If somebody wants to do the math, I can tell you right now. Of our shows, Scott has hit a plus 245, a plus 240, a plus 140, and a plus 225.
It's a lot of units.
Hey man, so I would go buy some WNBA Gambling Podcast gear with those extra units, but that's just me. Promo code SGPN May to get that 15% off on our Mega Memorial merch sale. All right, Scott. So, game one, it looked like it was Minnesota for a good portion of it, but Dallas just kind of hung around, and then they made their move, and you had, a low total gets over the total. Mavericks end up covering the 4.5, winning outright. Kyrie had a world beater of a day. Luka started off slow, but ended up doing a Luka-like game, 33, 6
He closed. And that's what matters.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like 15 points in that fourth quarter where they took over that lead and won the game.
He got to whatever spot he wanted down the stretch, and he basically hit every jump shot, and that was the story of the game.
Dale Gafford had a really good game, 5 for 9 shooting, 10 points, 9 rebounds, but the play that I was on that last game, and I'm probably going to be on again, Derek Lively, man. 4 for 4 from the field coming off the bench, 9 points, 11 rebounds. He led the game. He led the game in rebounding, tied with Ant with 11. So, yeah, all over Derek Lively to have another, and he had to have a really big game, with the second unit. He really had to have a big game on the boards. Naz Reid for Minnesota had 15 points off the bench, 5 for 9 shooting, 19 and 11 for Ant, 19, 11, and 8 for Ant, which is crazy. He didn't even shoot the ball that well, but he still was able to impact the game. And then Jaden McDaniels, I mean, they got KD. We got Jaden McDaniels, 24 points, 6 for 9 from 3. So I felt like that there was a potential for a letdown after that game, and it was. But ultimately, they were in position to win. They were in position to win for majority of the game, and then just kind of folded towards the end.
They were winning with like 4 or 5 minutes to go, and then they just could not score a basket.
It could be fatigue. It could be a lot of other things. But they just could not get a basket. Now they're getting a little bit more rest, preparation before game 2. Looking up here, any other thoughts before we get into the game 2 breakdown that you had on game 1?
Yeah. By the way, just a reminder that if you were looking for the recap of yesterday's game, that's going to be for game 3. That's kind of the format. We're going to be sticking with the preview of the previous game of the series that we're talking about now. So we're only going to talk about Timberwolves game 1. So if you're looking for Celtics game 2 breakdown analysis, that's not in this episode. That's in the next one. For my game 1 overall takeaways, I thought that it was kind of twofold. Ant said straight up that we were exhausted. Makes sense. Teams off game 7 have been awful, straight up, and potentially ATS. Pacers almost pulled it off in their own game 7 into game 1, but they unfortunately choked that away. I think the main takeaway was twofold. One, Ant was not very good, at least offensively. He seemed exhausted throughout the course of the game. Kyrie kind of cooked him throughout the entire game when Ant was trying to guard him, and it did seem like it was affecting Ant offensively because he only took 16 shots. And in the fourth quarter, I know he ended up with 11 rebounds and 8 assists, so his overall stat line was fine. But you could tell energy-wise, he had nothing left in the fourth quarter. It seemed like the gas tank was on E. I think you probably noticed the same thing. The other takeaway that I had, which was kind of going to go hand in hand with your rebounding and your overall praising of Gafford and Lively, I have to mention the points in the paint. Because the concern we were going to have in the series for Minnesota was going to be Gobert being pulled away from the basket in pick-and-roll switches with Luka and trying to do whatever they can to stop the pick-and-roll with Luka. And, yeah, Dallas killed them in the pick-and-roll. Did you see the points in the paint disparity between these two teams in game 1? Without looking it
Um,
up, do you want to guess what Dallas was in terms of plus minus and points in the paint?
plus minus.
Yeah. It was
Probably
obviously plus because
plus.
I wouldn't have brought it
Yeah,
up if it was a minus. But
yeah. So plus, let's say plus 20.
plus 24,
Okay.
62 to 38,
Hey, I
62
was close
points in the
without
paint.
going over.
Yeah, you were. You won the prices right on that. But the point is, Dallas didn't even make that many threes. Dallas shot 6 of 25 from three. Minnesota took 49 threes, which is wild. But the point is, Dallas shot terribly from three, and you ended up seeing them score 62 points in the paint. That was a recipe for success. It just seemed like Luka kept getting switches, he kept mismatch hunting, and even when he wasn't shooting well early in the game, that opened up stuff for Kyrie and for his teammates. But it did seem like Minnesota made the pre-game decision to do whatever they can to run Dallas off corner threes and to kind of allow Dallas to operate in the middle of the floor and to operate in the
Mhm.
mid-range. And Dallas killed them in that area. So I'm expecting some adjustments. But the real story, as you said before, was Gafford and Lively versus Gobert and Cat. And I think we'd agree that Gafford and Lively kind of won those minutes because both of them were really good. Gobert was a
Mhm.
complete non-factor. He had 7 rebounds in the game. And Cat was 6 of 20, 2 of 9 from 3. So it just seemed like Dallas's front court did a good job of holding their own. And I think they actually won the matchup so far in game 1.
Gobert actually led Minnesota in plus minus. I know they was looking at that because they be looking at the box score. I know they was looking at the box score. See, like that's why I don't route with the plus minus.
Yeah.
Uh,
Then I
man,
do rock with
so
plus minus yesterday because Tatum is a plus 0 in 42 minutes in a 16-point win. So plus minus, you can kind of pick your own narrative with that one. It's a pick your own adventure story.
So this is essentially went the exact way that I thought it was going to go for Kyrie Irving. In the fact that Minnesota was going to try to run, and Kyrie is like, fine. Hey, it's them other cats that don't like running for real, for real. That fat white guy that be playing with me, he don't like running. Me, I can run. And that's how the earlier the game started. Like it was a lot of running back and forth, up and down on the court. And Kyrie was just in transition, getting buckets in transition, making plays for his teammates. And when the fourth quarter settled down and the game slowed down and got more defensive, they played out the half court. That's where Luka came in with them 15 buckets and said, "Hey, I got something for you too." So uh, the fact that they have those 2 stars that can play and play well depending on pace is really really good for Dallas, and like that's gonna lock in with them. So uh, I think this is another close series, man. I think this is gonna be another close back and forth series. Before we get to the actual game being played tonight, we're going to talk to you about NBA playoffs are here, and Underdog Fantasy is going to make it a lot more interesting by letting you pick higher or lower on your favorite fantasy player stats like points, rebounds, assists, all that, and much more. Plus, you can mix it with NBA, WNBA, MMA, golf. You have so many options, and they're available in 30 plus states: California, Texas, Canada, even Florida for their champions player versus player format. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and a first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code NBA SGPN. We got a lineup coming up at the end of the show. Scott, game 2 in Minnesota. Dallas is up 1-0. Minnesota Timberwolves open up laying 3.5 here, laying 5.5. 207.5 is the total. Injury report here for these two teams, and I have here on Underdog. Looks like nothing really to report. Olivier Maxine's Prosper, he's out. Maxi Kleber's still out with that shoulder injury, and nothing to report for Minnesota either. So expect these two teams to run it back. I mean, is it as simple as saying Minnesota knocks this up 1-1?
That's how I'm looking at it. I feel like most people acknowledge that Minnesota was in a prime position to win game 1 off of a game 7, and then they completely fell apart offensively. It looked like they were gassed. And Ant, I know he was, you could argue, part of the problem of being gassed in the fourth quarter, but I think we'd agree he spoke for everybody quite accurately when he said we just ran out of gas. I think watching the game, we all felt the same way. A lot of, I'd say, ugly offensive possessions, a lot of chuck up 3-pointers, which didn't really stand a chance, but it just seemed like Minnesota kind of was on E. And Dallas was able to take advantage of the rest advantage they had because they didn't have to go to a Game 7. And they just had a little bit more in the tank. I think that was the story. Now, Dallas, you could argue, also might just have a letdown spot mentally because their goal was win a road game, get home court, and they did. And you feel like you can make an argument for zigzag theory here because Minnesota should come out as the more desperate team because they cannot afford to go down 2-0, losing home court advantage twice. We saw Denver almost pull that off against Minnesota last series, but in the end, it definitely pays to have home court advantage most of the time. So I think for the sake of this matchup, I am going to lean to Minnesota. They were still in a good spot to win it. I'm not going to overreact to the last 5 minutes of the game where Luka went nuts. You saw great games from Gafford and from Lively, and Dallas still almost lost the game. Gobert's going to have to play better. Cat's going to have to play better. And Minnesota's got to work on their overall shot breakdown because 49 3-pointers for Minnesota is absolutely absurd. But I thought that you're looking at Dallas barely winning a game by 3 when they shot 7% better from the floor. They shot 49% from the floor, and Minnesota shot 42%, and they still only won by 3.
Man.
That's what I'm saying.
If they shot better from 3, that percentage would have been crazy. They were 6 from 25, 24% from 3. And that's really what it was for me. Them threes, that's Minnesota did well defending on perimeter. Like you said, they gave up points inside the paint. If you don't give those up, you're winning. You're coming out of here with a win by 10 at home. This actually was a really, really solid game. And that's why I'm looking at Minnesota here. I think the only way I can go is Minnesota here. And I'm looking at the under 207.5 because I think Minnesota with fresher legs is going to be more active for 4 quarters defensively. They're going to be more active inside of the paint and not letting, like you said, that plus 24 margin happen inside the paint. And if they continue to play better defensively on the perimeter, then it's going to be really, really hard for them to be able to score. So, yeah, I think Luka and Kyrie going to still have games, but that 13 points by PJ Washington, I think that they're going to try to limit that.
A couple big threes late in that game.
Yeah, man. So I think that, you almost played very, very good, a full game of good defense on PJ Washington. Just protect the inside of the paint a little bit better. And because that's really where all the other scoring, they don't have any other guard scoring options. They actually don't have any other guard scoring options. You don't have Tim Hardaway Jr., who is either hurt or I don't know, he lost his powers to Monstars or whatever, but he's barely getting minutes. You have Josh Green, who's barely getting minutes, and we all know I'm a Josh Green guy, but Josh Green is only Josh Green when everybody else is out and Josh Green can do Josh Green things. But now
guard's also a relative term because Green is mostly a stand in the corner, shoot threes guy. The only one who's actually a ball handler off the bench, besides a little bit of Hardaway who's been a non-factor, is Hardy, who plays less than 10 minutes a game. Those are the only ball handling guard they have on the bench.
Hardy and Exum. Neither one of them play quality minutes. You're not getting any boost from the guard position. It's all from the big. So you got to protect inside the paint. You have to protect inside the paint. And I think they do that tonight. So I do like Minnesota here. I do like Minnesota laying the number. I do like the under 207.5, game 2 unders. And this is a really good spot because I think that Minnesota is going to be locked in defensively. I think Minnesota runs away with this one, actually.
I think
this is the adjustments. I think this is the adjustments they make at home. They're fresher legs. They feel better. I think they run away with it. Win margin for 11 plus, Scott, we can get at plus 180.
Okay, it's not bad. I think that it's definitely telling that the line's gone up 2 points for a team that lost game 1. That kind of tells me that people are expecting Dallas to potentially run into the building in this one, which wouldn't totally shock me because I do wonder, just based on the desperation factor and based on Dallas being accustomed to splitting these road games, because usually they lose game 1 and they would win game 2. The point is, I do think you're looking at a spot where Minnesota will come out with a better game plan. I like what Gobert said after the game. He was not very good in game 1, no matter what the plus-minus said. And he said straight up, I got to rebound better. And I appreciate the accountability. At least that's a sign that he realizes he could have played better. And if he plays even slightly better, they probably win game 1. So I think
for real, because if Rudy Gobert got in that press conference and said, I had the best plus-minus on the team, I'd have choked him out like Draymond tried to choke him out.
Yeah. But at least he was willing to be very straightforward and he just said, I have to play better. Yeah, you're right. At least you acknowledge that. And Ant has to play better. I know Ant has had some good all-around stat lines with the assists and rebounds recently. Maybe we'll mention that in the player prop section. the efficiency has been horrible the last 2 games for Ant. And it just felt like, once again, stamina was a concern for the entire team. But Ant had a lot of energy being used defensively against Kyrie, and he didn't have much left in the tank offensively down the stretch. So I'm hoping Ant bounces back. We'll see what happens, but I have to at least acknowledge that the main players for Minnesota really did not play well between Ant, Cat, and Gobert, and they still almost won the game. I'm not going to overreact to losing game 1.
Y'all got KD, but we got Jake McDaniels. Just trying
McDaniels
to
has
let
been
you.
good.
We
And by the
got
way, I
Jake
mean Cat
McDaniels.
offensively. I thought Cat defensively was actually pretty good in game 1.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Hey, thought you on the total? Are you with me on the under here?
I'm going to lean under. I think I'd prefer Dallas team total under. I
Okay.
do think if Minnesota's going to win, they're going to really put the clamps down. And Dallas shot that poorly from 3 by design, though, because Minnesota was trying to contest threes and to limit them. Dallas only attempted 25 threes. So Minnesota did a good job of running them off the 3-point line. But Dallas shot 49%. They had 60-plus points in the paint. I see regression on that. They still only got to 108 with that being the case. It would not shock me if Minnesota won this game like 105 to 90, 105
No,
to
for real.
94. Like something like that.
And they got to 108 with 30-point games from Kyrie and Luka. Imagine if that efficiency for either one of them goes down slightly. Like,
Yeah.
I don't trust, even if they do give me 30 and I can just pencil both of them in for 30. I do not feel this totals at 101.5, by the way. I don't feel comfortable just go ahead and assuming that everybody else is good for 40 points because I don't think they are. I mean, I really don't think that they're automatically good for 40 points from everybody else. I think you might get maybe one other double-digit scorer, but you're not getting a bunch of other contribution from everybody else. So, all right, I like it. Dallas team total under 101.5. Okay. Before we get to player props and rounding this thing out, gotta talk to you about Rhythm. If you're betting NBA player props, then you need to download Rhythm. It gives you the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, including this one. And just make sure that you go out there and just use their AI, use their data-driven props and picks, and just give yourself the best opportunity in the National Basketball Association. I'm telling you, I use the Rhythm app. It's really, really great. Hey, they was locked in on the W too. They've been on a few of these dogs. They had Sky plus 16.5 as well. So locked in on the W, locked in
They had the
on the
links yesterday,
NBA.
right? And they covered.
Yeah, I
Didn't
think they
Rhythm have the
did
links
have the
on that?
links. Yeah,
Yeah.
they did have the links. They had the points too. They didn't even have the money line. They had the points. So shout out to Rhythm again, getting it done. So let's see here. We're looking at our Rhythm plays of the day, and we're going to get into the player props section. So we're going to get into player props. And hey, shout out to JR. So JR said Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to knock down a few today. He took the 2 threes plus 300. He took the 3 threes at plus 850. I want you to know, JR, that Rhythm says that Tim Hardaway over half a 3-pointer at minus 125 is a good play. But not only did they say that, if you look at Rhythm and they predicted the number of 3-pointers he would get, and they have it at 2.2. Rhythm's telling you that a plus 300 bet is a good bet today. It says 88.9% win probability for the half of 3, and they feel good about him hitting 2. So, hey, Scott.
To be fair, Hardaway did take the same amount of shots as us in game 1, so hopefully he shoots the ball more in game 2.
Hey, when he does shoot the ball, he gets there. He just got to shoot it. So,
yeah.
All right, I like that. Shout out to Rhythm for that play. Shout out to JR for throwing it in the chat as well. All right, Scott. Hey, make sure you all tap into Rhythm. Make sure you all tap into Rhythm. Start a 7-day free trial and start winning your NBA player props with Rhythm. Available where you get your apps, App Store, Samsung, Google Store, or whatever it's called for you. Colton, yes, we do have a WNBA. Oh, well, for the game day.
For the game today, no.
No, not for the game today, but we do have it for the 5 games on Saturday tonight. So check in with us 8 p.m. Eastern.
I think an unwritten rule that we haven't officially announced on the WNBA show, because it's going to vary depending on schedule, but assume if it's 3+ games on the schedule, we'll have an episode.
Yeah, like it's
only one
actually,
game. We're not going to do an episode for one game.
I made the schedule. I don't think there's a single day with 3 games or more that we ever missed a game. The only we may miss a 2-game slate, but it's really the 1-game slate.
And if we're missing a 2, it's because there's like 4 the day after. So usually it's spaced out. But
I told myself I was gonna fade the fever. I was not gonna fade the fever today, but I don't know. It kind of sucked.
Kinda. You
I
watched
don't
any
know.
of that game?
LA's been competitive.
Did you watch that last game against Seattle though, which turned into like a wrestling match in the middle because they didn't call any fouls when people just kept
literally
getting
just stopped calling fouls. I was watching the whole way because Jewel Lloyd had 30 points, and so I literally
nobody in Indiana can shoot a jump shot besides. I mean, Kelsey we know can, but I don't think they made a 3-pointer.
Oh, that's the play for today. What's Kelsey's prop?
It was rough watching that team try to shoot. I saw 2 airballed threes over the rim from the corner. It was rough for Indiana. It was really rough trying to watch them shoot threes. But that team's not any good.
16.5 plus money. Take the over. Take the over. Yes.
By the way, Angel might be the biggest right now tease in the league because she's gotten 9 rebounds like 3 separate times for a double-double, and it's driving me nuts. Plus 360 yesterday, had 9 rebounds again yesterday. Driving me absolutely nuts.
Shout out to her for cashing the 11.5 for us. And hey, man, all I'm gonna say is Caitlin Clark lost to the Liberty twice. Angel Reese is 1-0 against the Liberty.
Yeah. Oh no, Angel Reese is getting the default rebound to 7.5. I'm just acknowledging that. Damn, she's been so close to the 360 on the double-double on like 3 separate occasions. She's been right there. But
I should make a YouTube short, shouldn't I? Appreciate Adam for keeping me honest with the YouTube shorts. I'll drop a short for the game today. That's what I'll do. I'll drop a YouTube short for the game today. Because Kelsey Mitchell's gonna go off. I took her ladder last game and I just snuck over and got the points prop at the end. She's cashing the ladder today. Come on now.
I'll just take unders on Aaliyah Boston, but that's a separate story. The Sparks have a great post defense so far with Hamby and with Brink. They've been great.
But Brink has her moment. She's still a rookie. I don't know. All I'll say is Aaliyah Boston's had some a crazy amount. I mean, Alyssa Thomas, Brianna Jones, Jonquel Jones, Brianna Stewart. Who else was in there? Easy Magbor. Like she had a really, really tough matchups to start the season. And then she got to go play Asianness on Saturday. Going back to back LA to Vegas is actually kind of crazy. And they set them up.
It is.
All right. Player props for the NBA. We talked about the rhythm play and rhythm like Tim Hardaway Jr. All right, Scott. I'm going to kick things off with what was my favorite play from last game, which was Lively over 6.5 rebounds. Let's see where they have Lively at today. I bet you it's at 7.5.
Whatever it is, it's probably too low.
Let's see if I can get this to load. There we go. We have Lively at 7.5 plus 114. Take over. Come on, man. Like he's playing really good. He's gotten into this field coming off of the bench. And I think coming off of the bench does well for his numbers because he's normally, he's catching inverse minutes. He may be catching a big that maybe in foul trouble. And they're out on foul trouble. He's getting a lot of less resistance. Like it's just making it, very, very easy for him. And I don't have any problem playing Derek Lively. Derek Lively has been absolutely great. And it's good to see this type of transition in the NBA from a big.
Remember when people got mad at Dallas for tanking in the last week of the season? They ended up with Lively as the 10th pick in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of the ones that got mad at them for tanking at the end of the season. Now, it's because, the Knicks would have had 11th pick? If they had picked 11, then it would have went to the Knicks. But since it was 10, they got to keep it. It was top 10 protected.
Well, it's because of basketball integrity. They were punting games and they could have made a playoff spot. But in hindsight, it worked out pretty well for them.
Yeah, because look at them now in the Western Conference Finals with Derek Lively, who's playing really, really well. I wonder what Derek Lively's double-double is.
It's probably a good price. I can check that for you if you want.
That's player performance double. I need double-double. Double-double is...
I can pull that up for you. Lively's around 6 to
550. Yes, 6 to 1, 550. So, yeah, sprinkle on Derek Lively double-double. I really feel like, Gafford feels like a steal too. Gafford's rebounds
10 to
5.5. Yeah, his rebounds are at 5.5. He had 9 rebounds in the first game.
He only played 21 minutes. I feel like that's kind of the concern is that they're going to be splitting the minutes down the middle, basically. So that might be
Mhm.
actually he played less minutes. Gafford played 6 minutes less than Lively. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We know foul trouble could always dictate minutes anyway. So you have an option for the overall centers there. I'm gonna go with the defensive prop though. I don't
Ooh.
mind Jaden McDaniel's blocks actually. I think that at half a block, I think it's actually kind of intriguing. I know he's had 0 blocks in 3 straight against Dallas, but he has had a block in 8 of the last 9, and it's minus 25. We know he's going to play a bunch of minutes. We know he still is very active defensively, and I think he can get a block in there. He played 39 plus minutes in back-to-back games. He can't really leave the floor. Minus 125, I don't hate the price on that. I know Dallas doesn't exactly allow many blocks, but I think minus 125 is intriguing.
All right. I'm on Kai again. If people didn't know, I said it. I think he's going to have a great series. And let's go back to the Timberwolves. So I think that this is another rhythm play. And I was debating it. And because I saw it on rhythm, I think I'm actually going to bet it because it was just a gut call for me. But now rhythm has some data that backs it.
Okay.
Kyle Anderson had a really good game.
Yeah.
Like things, this was way different than the last series where things just kind of looked a lot easier for him. Very much settled into the game. His points prop is at 4.5. And he had 11, 5 for 8. He hit a 3-pointer. Like, if you're going to hit a 3, 4.5, and you're going to hit a 3.
I see 3.5 at minus 154, but you can find 4.5 if you want it. Yeah, you might be onto something. I mean,
I think Kyle Anderson, this just feels like a Kyle Anderson series, man. He looked really good
he's a
that first
tweener.
game.
He's an interesting guy that Dallas has a hard time matching up with. So
they're really scary for not offering Kyle Anderson 10 plus points. I will say that 100%. You guys are terrified.
I'm going to see if I could find it for you, but I highly doubt they're going to have him. But I can try to find it. No,
I'll come back. I'll come back closer to game time, but that's insane. I think that's insane. How do you list a player on points and you don't even give the baseline? You're that scared? That scared? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do like Nas Reed. Shout out Adam. I do like Nas Reed as well. All right. What else, Scott? What else you got?
Yeah, Reed,
I'm gonna play Ant again.
I think I just want Ant RA because even with the bad shooting numbers, maybe he steps up, but he's been really good in the RA the last couple games. So at least he's been pivoting a bit. So he has not been a total loss offensively. He does have to improve the efficiency. We'd agree on that, especially with all the expectations that he has now, potentially leading his team to the finals. But if you want to look at the overall numbers for Ant, his RA is at 12.5, and it's even money. And he's had at least 15 in back-to-back games. He had 19 in game 1. He had 13 in game 6 against Denver. Game 5 against Denver. I don't mind it. He had 17 potential assists in game 1, and he had 8 assists. So he definitely had some opportunities to get some assists. So maybe if you want to go for Ant assists, actually, just in general, I don't mind that. It's 6.5 plus money. It's plus 124 at 6.5. He's had 7 plus assists in 3 of the last 4 games. So I don't mind that. I don't mind Ant RA or maybe Ant just A, and you're hoping that Gobert picks up some rebounds instead. So I don't mind Ant assists at 6.5 at plus 124.
Dang, 10 points plus 850 for Kyle Anderson on Bet365. Hell, fuck yeah. Give me Ant for a 30 piece though. I feel like if I don't play it this game, this is gonna be the game he gets, and then I'll be pissed because I played it last game in a bit. So yeah, Ant's gonna go ahead and score this game. I'm just gonna roll with that. All right. Scott.
Anything else? So you want to move on to the lock and dog?
Yeah, lock and dog. Underdog lineup. Game 2 in Minnesota for my lock. Under 207.5. I'm back in the game 2. Adjustments come in. Minnesota, fresher legs, looks a lot better. Mavs played pretty well defensively. And I don't think that Minnesota is going to go out here and score 120 plus points and kill this before I even get a chance. But I do think that Minnesota is going to lock down defensively. They're going to do enough, and they're going to win this game by closer to 10 points, maybe a little bit more. So, yeah, I like Minnesota to get this done. But my lock is going to be the under 207.5 for my dog. Okay, so we got Kyle Anderson as a dog that I could get behind. I can get behind. It's going to be lively. I'm just gonna
Double
call
double?
Rudy Gobert.
Or what
I'm
do you
just say Rudy Gobert is not who he says he is. And how do I want to play lively? Nope, 115 is too low.
I mean, do you want like an alt points and rebounds? I can find that for you if you want it.
Nah, it's cool. I'm gonna do 10. Well, yeah, I am gonna do an alt, but I don't need to look it up. I'm just gonna do. Oh well, I guess I could do another alt. What's another alt? Nah, there's no point. I might as well take 10. Yeah, just give me 10 plus rebounds for Derek Lively plus 280.
All right. So for my lock on the show, I was contemplating if I wanted to go with Minnesota on the spread or maybe take him first half and full game. But that's going to be plus money. So I thought about a halftime, full time, or maybe even Minnesota first half. I think for this game, I am going to go with Timberwolves first half. And to find the actual number on that, it should be around 3, but I'm trying to see if I could find a 2.5. Let me just quickly see if I could find it. But the point is, even when they lost game 1, they were still very competitive in that first half. In fact, they were leading by 3 at halftime. So they were pretty good early in that game. But I think it's a desperation factor. I think Dallas might come out a bit flat. Maybe they're going to be a bit full of themselves because they were able to take home court advantage. But I see 3.5 for the first half. I actually don't even see a 3. I'm going to take that. Give me a desperate team to come out at home with a better effort. And I do think that defensively, they will make adjustments. So give me Minnesota first half minus 3.5 as my lock. And that you can find that at around minus 110. That'll be my lock. For my dog, I think I am going to go with Ant assists, actually. I am going to go with Ant over 7.5 assists at plus 225. He's had at least 8 assists in 2 of the last 4 games. He had, once again, 17 potential assists in game 1. He had a lot of chances. His teammates just didn't make enough shots. And you're looking at Ant also having 13 potential assists in game 7 against Denver. So he's recently been ramping up the playmaking. And either that's because of injury or because of just overall, I'd say, passiveness. We'll see what happens. Maybe he has a 30 piece, like you said, and I'll eat it. But I think looking at him getting 8+ assists at 225 when he had 17 potential in game 1, I think it's a great price. Give me Ant to get 8+ assists at plus 225 as my dog.
Oh, Hassan might be on his side, but Kyle Anderson 5-5-5 parlay. That probably plays really well too, don't it?
I'm assuming it does. His assists are at 2.5, so you can probably find a good price on that.
What?
If they even offer it. I'm not sure they're even going to give it to you. But
What's the price? Let me check. Bet365 probably got it. Maybe
I can build a 5-3-3 on FanDuel if you want that, or something along those lines.
What's that 5-3-3? I saw JR talking about it.
Yeah, I can try to build that quickly. Just give me a second. But anyway, you can start the underdog talk if you want to.
We're good. I'm gonna go ahead and do we want to throw Lively an underdog? Do we want to throw Lively and Ant an underdog, or do we want to go somewhere else?
Well, we disagree on what Ant's going to do because you think he's going to have a good points game. I'm leaning more towards him being passive or at least trying to get his teammates involved again. So we kind of disagree on how he's going to do that.
I don't disagree on the assist. I think the assist is still a good play. I just think he's going to score. I just think he's going to be able to score.
But I'm trying to get it on FanDuel. They do not have 4+ rebounds for Kyle, so I can't do that. Or 3+. They don't have anything for Kyle. So that I can't do. Sorry.
Scary. Terrified.
They're terrified.
All right. They are. Okay. Let's see here. Let's run Nas Reed. 10.5 points higher.
Sure.
I think this is a series for him. What else do we want to do? We can throw Lively in there. It
would be pretty funny if Gobert says he has to play better and he completely just no-shows the game, but I don't see that happening personally. Do you want McDaniels points?
I was going to say either McDaniels or Anderson.
We can do both. You want to do both?
Yeah, make it a 4.
I mean, Anderson at 3.5 or 4, I think, is just too good of a deal to pass up on. So we need 11 in game 1 in 17 minutes. I'm not going to suddenly say he's not going to go for 4 in game 2.
So we currently have Nas Reed higher 10.5 points, Derek Lively higher 7 rebounds, Kyle Anderson higher 4 points, Jay McDaniels higher 12.5 points. Is there anything we want to take off, or do we just go with a 10 piece today?
No, let's just go for it.
All right, 10 piece. There it goes. You take those 4 picks, Kyle Anderson higher 4 points. Jake McDaniel higher 12.5 points. Derek Lively higher 7 rebounds. And Nas Reed higher 10.5 points. And that is going to pay you 10-1. $10 gets you $100 on Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. All right. Anything else for the people before we get up out of here?
Not really. We're going to have an episode once again for Game 3 of the Celtics and Pacers series. So I'm not sure who's going to be doing that episode, but we're going to have it. That's going to be on Saturday, so expect an episode probably Saturday morning, if I had to guess. Maybe Friday night, who knows. But we have a WNBA show tonight around 8 o'clock, so tune in.
Yep, tune in for the WNBA show. It's going to be 5 games tomorrow, too. Come on. Like you're going to get 1 game in the NBA tomorrow and 5 and guess what? The games start early. So you might as well lock in. I don't understand. I don't understand why the numbers for the WNBA show don't mirror these numbers because
the playoffs.
They come here to look like you're listening to the same people. It's just us. It's just us. We just be up
We
there
have to
talking.
reevaluate the actual numbers though during baseball season in the summer and see where the numbers stack up. Because right now playoffs are always going to be, a step above anyway. So
yeah, but I think they can. They're gonna tap in. They're gonna tap in.
Yeah.
Hassan said he already took the Mercury money line.
Mercury are good, man. They're good.
I said it.
I was wrong about that team, man.
I'm with it, they're so much fun. Like they're actually.
And Griner
really
hasn't
fun
even
this
played,
year.
but you're looking at just. I'm not going to go too deep into it. We'll save for the WNBA show, but Cloud and Copper together are really, really good. They look really good together on the same team. And Tarazi's been.
Cloud's assists are going to be money all season. She literally has like every single person is an offensive option. And when Brittany Griner comes back, oh my gosh, Natasha Cloud might be averaging about 8 assists this year.
Like, the Mercury might be the team that I thought the Storm were going to be, but they're a solid team.
Hey man, don't give up on the Storm yet.
I'm not giving up on them.
When Skylar find her shot, they're going to be nasty. All right. Make sure you go ahead and give us a like on the video, give us a comment, give us a subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And shout out to the WNBA show as well. It's also on this feed. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to subscribe to a new channel. You just click over and hit the WNBA content and consume it. You don't have to do anything extra. We made it super easy for you. 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you tap in. Other than that, I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the show. Just going to end like this. Eddie, finna go put one in the air. We out of here.